Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, thank you for being tentative. Not too tentative. Sorry, I want to ask you to squeeze in a little bit more because we expect almost 500 for the opening. So we make sure that we can make sure that everyone gets a seat. And now that it is so calm, I suggest that I start. I have most possible attention. So thank you, everyone, to attend the buildingSMART International Summit Berlin 2025. I can tell so far it's going to be the biggest one so far in the 30 years history of buildingSMART International. And many people are involved to make such a good performance. I will tell you later about that. We also expect some 100 or even more attendees online. So welcome to you as well in your different time zones, wherever you are. Welcome to Berlin in a virtual way. When you work towards such a big event for almost 2 years, with all the challenges and uncertainties, it is an overwhelming feeling to realize that these efforts have been worthwhile and that today and over the next few days, we expect 600 coming to Berlin to help shape the future of the construction industry. I actually only wanted to communicate a few organizational issues, but unfortunately, I have to begin my welcome with some unpleasant news. Yesterday, we received the news that our chairman, Alfred Waschel, will not be able to travel to Berlin due to a health issue. Alfred had to seek medical treatment and will have to take it easy for a few days. In his place, our vice chairman, Eduard Dischke, will give the welcome speech in a few minutes and will also take care or take over many of Alfred's duties during that summit. We are in contact with Alfred and he sends his warm regards to you all. And I think I speak for all of us when I wish you, dear Alfred, a speedy and full recovery. Our summit, as you probably know, is under the patronage of Patrick Schnieder, Federal Minister of Transport of the Federal Republic of Germany. Unfortunately, he will not be able to open the summit that was planned, and we received that final message only a couple of days ago. The entire federal government is currently engaged in budget negotiations 2026, so he's needed there. We have therefore decided to make his welcome address available in printed form, and all of you here in the hall must have gotten a leaflet when you were registering. If not, you will find those leaflets around everywhere all 3 days long. But still, of course, we are very grateful for this patronage and want to thank Patrick Schnieder and his ministry for this kind of important support to gain visibility for the things buildingSMART stands for. But now the organizational matters I promised to cover. This is the this is the patronage. And this is the schedule for today's opening. As you can see, 4 90-minute sessions divided by short or a longer break. We will finish the program by 5:30, and those who want to celebrate 30 years of buildingSMART with us can move over the street to our party location called Ballhaus Berlin, right across the street. Some of you might have discovered that special place last night when you arrived. Next one, we recommend to use the Wi-Fi, the open free Wi-Fi of our event venue. You probably have discovered that one. We also recommend to you to use the Ring Central Events app. Here are the download links. Please log in with the same address you used when you registered for participating in the summit. If you have any problems, don't hesitate to ask for help at the front desk. There are our colleagues to help out. When it comes to social medias, if you are a LinkedIn user, please use the hashtag BSSBerlin25. And if possible, please integrate or include your local chapter so everyone at home knows where you are and what's going on here. If you need any help, of course, first of all, ask the event management team. I skipped that one a bit faster. You know all these faces probably when you entered this morning. On day 2 and 3, you will find in every meeting room a moderator. Please don't hesitate, especially if you are a presenter there, don't hesitate to ask the moderators for assistance. There is also Sue, a main contact person for the PCERT booth or at the PCERT booth when it comes to the PCERT program, of course. She's there all 3 days long, and there will be some special things happening tomorrow afternoon there. So join or come to the booth then. And plus there is also Rainer at the BIM Fit Check, a special event of buildingSMART Germany included here in the summit. He's the moderator, and of course he's the main contact person when it comes to that special challenge format that we developed in Germany a year ago. Another assistance you can get from our buildingSMARties, that are 5 volunteer students, student volunteers from the HTW Berlin, the Berlin University of Technology and Economics. It's Kilian, Johann, Marie, Ben, and Konstantin. You can easily find them. It's the corporate red of buildingSMART, so don't hesitate to ask them for help. Please stand up. Are you here? Ah, yeah, there they are. So hands up for our volunteers. So where are we? Today finding your way wasn't so complicated. There's only this big auditorium and, of course, the expo and catering area next door. And as you can see, we will divide this large room tomorrow into 2. So this is ballroom 1 and 2 then. And when it comes to the second floor, it's as easy as here on the ground floor. Everything else is happening on the first floor. You will find those 5 more rooms upstairs. And again, our buildingSMARties will help if you cannot find your room in time. Of course, this is an important message as well. I can assure you there is no test fire alarms planned. That's a good news. So in case you hear an alarm, take it seriously, and the meeting point in that case is across the street right in front of the Ballhaus, so you get along quite well. Speaking of the Ballhaus, it's the birthday parties event venue. It's easy to find. I told you from about 5:30 this afternoon, you will hear barrel organ music. It's a typical traditional music from Berlin, not only Berlin, but particular in big cities from the 19th century. Doors will open at 6, and the little official program starts at 6:30. So everyone who has registered is invited to come over. If you are not registered so far, or you are not invited as a guest, because we have many guests, for example, from the many chapters that are represented here today. If you are not registered yet, so ask Wilma and Lisa, the staff from buildingSMART Germany at the front desk. They will find a solution for you. And now, this is how our opening plenary looks like for today. The opening ceremony. We start now with the welcome of Cornelius Preidel and Eduard Dischke. May I ask you on stage, and a warm welcome for the Vice Chairman, Eduard Dischke, and the Chairman of buildingSMART Germany, Cornelius Preidel. Thank you.
Alles Gute. So welcome from my side. It's a real pleasure to see so many faces here. The room is really packed. We have been a little bit nervous actually in the beginning. If so many attendees would find their way here, I mean, like many of you have been obviously struggling with maybe Deutsche Bahn, with the Berlin airport, with the baggages, belts or whatsoever, but you made it. So congratulations. It's really great to have you all here. So it's a real honor to host this event as the German chapter. But before we start right in the middle of things, I invite all of you to take together with me a step back and just remember why we are all here together. If we take a look at the world map just as it is, I mean, like, it looks large, it looks maybe also different because there's many, many countries and so on, but there is things that we have all in common. Challenges in the construction industry, right? Because I mean, like, we know that construction industry matters. It matters a lot because of the financials, the investment, the social demands, mobility, and all of these kind of things that we as society want to have, that we need to run our industry, to run our society. And at the same time, we know it matters also because of carbon emissions and all of these kind of things, right? So we have to think, all of us, about how we make construction industry smarter, greener, and better. And what unites us as buildingSMART International on a global level is that we want to deal with these challenges. We want to solve them. And we unite with the idea that we can solve these things with digitization, with tools that we can use all together. Of course, we have to adopt it for the different markets, for the different countries, and so on. Yeah, sure. But I mean, like, there is a lot of things that we can develop all together on a global level. And this is what unites us. But it's not only about technology. It's also about, and this is much more important from my point of view, people. People coming together, working on these tools together, working how to apply these tools, how to share best practices, simply being better together. And it's an honor that now, as a part of this community, we can be, at least for 3 days, we can be the beating heart of this open BIM community. Technology-wise, people-wise. So we're coming here all together to basically share, right, how to use these technologies. We can share basically how people have been using these things, right, for their everyday practice. And this is what makes us also unique as a community. And this is actually the reason why it's really great to have you here. And yet again, welcome to Berlin. Because this is just a beautiful place, and only because the city is beautiful, but I mean, like, you know the history of Berlin. It's a perfect place to connect, right? It's just in this city's DNA. So welcome here to Berlin, everyone. We have prepared a really packed agenda. Today we're starting here with our main thread, you could say, right? But then already with our birthday party in the end of today. And then we're starting tomorrow and the day after tomorrow with our domain sessions. So you can take a look at the detailed agenda in the Event Ring Central app. But as a quick summary, we have more than 60 presentations, more than 15 workshops, more than 10 panels and sessions. We have our BIM Fit Check, which is about gamification to check actually what our software tools can actually deliver. So a new approach that we have been also using on the national level was quite fun. It was quite successful. I'm really looking forward how that works out now on an international level. So you can also join these sessions. And of course, something which is really remarkable, we are celebrating a milestone. And this is 30 years. 30 years of buildingSMART Germany, yes, because international, of this community, of this idea I was talking about. And every birthday deserves a big party. And well, I don't know if it's just coincidence or if that was really purpose, but we have our birthday celebration set already quite across the street. So you can just go across the street and you will find this beautiful place, Ballhaus. And it's really nice over there. So we're gonna have this birthday party all together. So please, take this theme, this main theme, with you for these 3 days, and we want to support it from German side all together, actually, as much as we can, because it's about that only we together in these summits can make things better together. And we also want to create these kind of moments that you can see here. It's just a variety of moments taken from the different summits and so on, and we want to create more of these moments. This is the idea that we are following, and it's great to have you here. So thank you for being here. And now the transition. Eduard, the stage is yours.
You're already on time. Yes, thank you. It's amazing to stand here and to welcome you here in the city of Berlin. I'm very thrilled that you all came over, and I think we will have a wonderful summit because I had a look into the program, and I don't have a doubt that we will enjoy the time and will have hard work, but also some time to celebrate. So where are we? Well, as Gunther said, but I have to correct him in one thing, we have a record. We have not an overall record because we had a very good attendance in Beijing in 2019, but 725 attendees at this summit is at least a European record, and it's a post-COVID record. So thank you all for coming and also for virtually joining in. And also we figured out we are people from 48 countries. So we're a little bit of the United Nations of interoperability, and I think this is also remarkable. And I take my time just to name you that 48 countries that are here attending. It's Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, South Korea, Slovakia, Serbia, Saudi Arabia, Philippines. Welcome to the Philippines. North Macedonia, Morocco, Mongolia, Mexico, also a new member of buildingSMART. Lithuania, Hungary, Colombia, Slovenia, Luxembourg, Estonia, Czech Republic, Bulgaria, Romania, India, Vietnam, Turkey, Greece, Ireland, Singapore, Portugal, Denmark, Australia, Sweden, Canada, Spain, Hong Kong, France, Poland, Brazil, Belgium, Finland. And now the hot 10 are coming. I want you to cheer up if you are from this nation. Norway with 21 participants. Is anyone from Norway here? Cheer up, please. Rank 9, it's Switzerland, 23. Where are the Swiss? And head-to-head Italy, also 23. Where are our Italian friends? Thank you for coming. United Kingdom, 28 attendees. Are any British here? Oh, they are very polite. And Austria is here with 29 people. Where are they? United States is here with 30 attendees. Are Americans here? The Dutch Netherlands, our neighbor, 38. Where are you?
Hey.
And now we have the big three. China, 44. Where are the Chinese people? And number 2, Japan, 58. Wow. You had a long way. Number 1 is Team Germany, 213 attendees. Where are the Germans? Okay, but without them, it wouldn't have been possible, of course. We got to thank, of course, our sponsors and give them a special applause, please. The Platinum Event Partners, Nemetschek Group, Autodesk, LeapFrog. Nothing works without them, so please give them a hand of applause. Gonna name the other sponsors too. The gold sponsors are Bentley and Sierra Soft. Thank you. You can cheer up also if you're from that company. Silver sponsors are Magic Group and Akka Software. Our cocktail sponsors are BIMCOM and ePlan. We have our bronze sponsors, the Hardcode, ODA, Katanda, Neonex, Ziggurat, and Cornic. Thank you very much. So, and I'm going to give you 3 examples in my remaining time of how buildingSMART works. We have very, very successful projects. One of them, well, proves OpenBIM works. This is especially elaborated by our chapters in the USA, in Portugal, and in Brazil. You see it for yourself. It proves by OpenBIM metrics that OpenBIM works. So it was very successful. So have a look in it if you take your time. I'm going to take the notes of Alfred right now, because it's his presentation, as you know. 1 minute. But I can go to the next slide, of course. Yes, and another very important program of ours, the professional certification status. We have 27 operational chapters in these. We have 5 chapters in the implementation stage. We have 17 languages available, so it's a big success. And we're going to keep running this program, of course. We're going to even enlarge it. So with 25,000 qualified individuals, 200 training providers, this is also a success story of buildingSMART International overall. And last example, let's have a look at one of the domains, an example from electrical domain, how to share best practices. Here, especially, it was proven as a blueprint for each MEP trade. I had to look up what MEP means. Mechanical, electrical, plumbing. Yeah, okay. So also in these branches, buildingSMART OpenBIM works. So these are proofs for a really good working community, and this all stands under our motto, better together. So thank you very much for being here. Have fun. I wish you all good luck for the hard work in the sessions, in the domains, in every instance. And also don't forget to celebrate. Celebrate tonight, celebrate on the evenings of the other days. You're very welcome in Berlin, and I thank you all for being here. Thank you.
Super, danke. So, our next speaker is Aidan Mercer. He's marketing director at buildingSMART International, and he will give us a short survey where we are right now and maybe where we gonna be soon. Aidan, stage is yours.
Thank you, Gunther, and hello, everyone. Thank you very much for being here in Berlin. It's very exciting, and hello to those online. Let's not forget this is a hybrid event, so we have people joining in from the leisure of their home or their office. So my name's Aidan Mercer. I'm the marketing director of buildingSMART International. I've actually been doing this role for 7 years now, and it is amazing when we start to think about the progress we make when we kind of look back. But let's always consider that we should also look forward, and that's something really important for us as a community. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we can progress together and how we have been progressing together. So for anyone that doesn't know the sort of core vision, mission, and purpose of buildingSMART International, I'll remind you that we see the vision as a seamless exchange of trusted information across the built environment. So really key core focus for us as a vision. Our vision is to create and maintain these open and reliable digital standards for the industry. So really important that we together do that. And we bring that together to help us make better decisions, such as automation, so that we can tackle some of those things that Cornelius mentioned at the start, some of those key topics around sustainability and productivity. And I really started to think about the core of what we do and who we are. So at the essence of it, we are open, we're neutral, we respond to industry requirements. You saw that use case from the electrical domain. We listen to the use cases of the industry, and we develop that into the international standards and services that we see. And we do produce great things, actually. When you look back, we realize as an industry, we actually produce really nice things, really reliable tools and services that help the industry make better decisions. And of course, that helps us with that bottom line, which is delivering against sustainability goals, for example. OpenBIM can provide a really important part of that. Investments in the future. So we're starting to see that actually aligned to open standards, investments can come if we can meet these sustainability goals for the industry. And of course, we're a community as well. So we drive this standard together as a community, which can tackle those things because we're developing community standards, engaging with the industry and driving that forward. And of course, collaboration is at the heart. If you go back to the original meeting for the formation of buildingSMART International, the Alliance for Interoperability, it was all about collaboration, interoperability. So it's always been at the core of who we are. And of course, this helps us with delivering productivity gains. So in projects and assets, whether we're operating, maintaining, or developing projects, ensuring that OpenBIM is part of that is critical. And of course, this seamless flow of information really helps that decision-making. And then, of course, you saw that slide that Eduard produced that, of course, over 25,000 professionals taking advantage of the education, the body of knowledge that helps to advance their career, which can bring these things. So we mustn't remember that actually the focus at the top level is achieving these things. And of course, there's some news that we've had. Unfortunately, we wish Alfred well, but he won't be here. But he was recently appointed the chairman of buildingSMART International. We have 3 new board members, Rob Roof, Eric Brigager, and Lai Wei. So great to have those representatives from the industry and obviously our chapter network. Evandro Alfieri was joined the management team at buildingSMART International as the quality and delivery director. So it's really good to have Evandro. Lots of you, many will have worked with him. It's really good to have him working with us to help the quality and delivery of the things that we do. And of course, we announced the next summit in 6 months. I mean, I don't know who was here from Singapore, but it seems like yesterday that we were in Singapore. So it will be like it's in no time we'll be in Porto supporting the Portuguese chapter there. We've published our annual report, so if you want to take a look at that, it's on our website. And we announced the finalists for the OpenBIM Awards. I also noticed when we're working with our chapters, there are a lot more chapters that are doing their version or variants of the OpenBIM Awards in country. So it's really great that we see this expansion on the sort of global scale of the impact of the awards. And then from the chapter front, I was just recently helping to launch the Saudi Arabia chapter into a developing chapter. It was fantastic to be there. We have 3 new chapters, Australasia, Portugal, and Austria. I'm sorry, this is one addition there. Austria will become full chapters this week. And 2 new chapters, as you heard, Mexico and the Philippines. So we welcome them. They're both here as well. So hopefully you get an opportunity to talk with them. But we've also had a lot of progress related to OpenBIM. And if you look back at the last 12 months, IFC 4.3 became an official ISO standard, which is the best standard we've ever had. And of course, delivering that to the international community is really important. We've had a lot of progress with the IFC validation service. So hopefully a lot of you are taking advantage of that free online service that helps you check the IFC models against the IFC schema. So really important service that is being developed. And we published our entry-level training. Hopefully some of you have taken that course online. It's a free entry-level training. And we've updated the body of knowledge or some content for the foundation course as well. And recently released the learning content for the practitioner program. So really supporting expert use cases and expert use within the professional certification as well. The buildingSMART Data Dictionary, which is has over 295 data dictionaries within the dictionary, has over 1,000 daily unique users, which is fantastic. So continuing to develop the buildingSMART Data Dictionary, which really helps to enrich the content of the IFC schema. And IFC 5, we've had lots of developments. We had a hackathon in February, the Implementers Assembly last month in the US, in California, and lots of first exchanges of information between software platforms to actually look at the future standards that we also need to develop at the same time. We have our global IFC certification, a software certification for import and export available, and we recently published a compatibility policy for ISO, as well as revising our agreement with ISO, which is really important that we support the developments of ISO in a sort of bi-directional format. So we've published a bit of information on our website if you'd like to learn a bit more about that. And of course, we continue to publish user-friendly materials to help the industry learn and adopt about what we're doing together. We're supported at buildingSMART International by our members, so thank you all very much for your support. Without them, we couldn't deliver the work that we do, the progress collectively, because we're able to be supported by these organizations to help deliver the work. So we thank you all very much for those international members. And the work is developed through our domains, as mentioned earlier. We have 10 sector-facing domains, developing the use cases, as mentioned, listening to industry requirements. And of course, we've got 2 days of full agenda of domain work happening here in Berlin. It happens every summit, which is fantastic. We have interest from other areas as well, power, water, healthcare, and we have a strategic working group at this summit putting out call for participation for the energy domain as well. And if you look inside the agenda on your app, of course, downloading Ring Central, if you get used to it, you'll see information related to the different domains. You can even add that into your personal calendar and make sure you, if you're old school and you just want to look at the printout, we also have printouts on the wall just there as well. So hopefully you've got enough information for the very busy summit ahead. And as we progress together, we also look at the growing network of partners. I mentioned ISO-CEN, but we have the Industrial Digital Twin Association, which are here. We will be hearing about that. We have GS1, we have a workshop there, and OGC we've been working with OGC, for example, on our BIM and GIS, and of course we have a workshop, I think it's tomorrow afternoon. Please consider joining that one. But as we partner with these organizations, it's really great that we can develop the workflows that are required, again, to listen to the industry from those different networks. GS1 will be doing a workshop tomorrow. We have a lot of people coming around that. These are the guys that do the standards for barcodes, so hopefully you can also check those out as well. Starting to get a bit busy, this slide, actually, so I'm going to have to rethink now that we're at 39 chapters, but it's wonderful to think about the impact that buildingSMART has had over these years in terms of a sort of global schematic, I suppose. And we've entered new continents and things, but actually it's not just necessarily about the growth of numbers, it's also about the quality that we see within that. And I think we really need to start to think about the quality as we progress of how chapters can feel supported, how we can support one another, and how the quality of the work that we do, the quality of standards and services can be implemented in chapters. So I think we have to really think about that now as we start to advance through that. And I think a lot of this can be done through this thing that we've talked about now, which is this global IFC Open BIM mandates. This is in its second iteration. We've had lots of downloads of the document. We'll be making an update to that. And essentially, we're capturing through our chapter network where in countries and in regions there are open BIM mandates that are actually driving really positive things related to open standards. So if you're working on something, I know that a lot of chapters are, I speak with a lot of them, they're working on something with their governments, with policymakers. Please consider putting that in a future iteration of this document. It's becoming very useful, and it's a very good tool for us to convince people actually that open BIM should be at the heart of policy, and it really will drive significant changes, as I mentioned. We actually have a session as well tomorrow with the open BIM mandates and open BIM business value. Eduard shared a slide that Alfred had, which actually showed the project that we were doing with our chapters to actually capture best practice, capture open BIM business value. So starting to capture some metrics, ROI. So tell me if I embed open BIM on my project, where's my ROI on that project? What am I going to get back? And of course, everybody in here is a believer in open BIM, but actually as soon as you step outside the door and start convincing other people, wouldn't it be really nice if we were all armed with some metrics to actually show, hey, look, if you have this seamless exchange of information, you have the tool that you require, if you have freedom to choose whatever you like, you are going to save money, you're going to improve the productivity of your project, and you're going to be able to better maintain and manage your assets. So really important project. Thank you so much to the chapters involved there. Do consider coming to that session as well. And as I said earlier, we produce great things. A lot of people ask us, well, then how is that really used in practice? Information delivery specification, or IDS, is a way to define your project information requirements. We publish tools available on our website. You can go and do that for free. Develop your information delivery specification, which can help you produce an IFC model. You can share topics or collaborate on that using our BCF, which is a very well-used standard in software. And you can share that using a suite of APIs using our OpenCDE platform. You can enrich the content using our data dictionary, as I mentioned earlier about the number of users on that. And then you can upload that to the IFC validation service to check your IFC model against the IFC schema. So we have this workflow that is usable today, and it's really valuable for the industry and for chapters and for end users to actually adopt today. So we encourage this use. It's becoming really reliable, and really proud of the progress that we've all made on these very key and important standards and services. And of course, we have enablers to do that. We have our use case management platform, which helps us capture best practice, which I think is also really important. We're developing software certification for use cases, for MVDs, and for import and export certifications. So I think this is really important that we have support for the software for end users to be able to use that. And we develop the workforce through our professional certification program as well. And we can align businesses through the accelerator program as well, which helps organizations to adopt these in a way that is structured. But it's also worth mentioning that we see interoperability as having no version number. So whether it's IFC 2x3, which is probably the most popular standard still used today, or IFC 4.3 or IFC 5, essentially, as an industry, we respond to the demands and requirements of those. So no single version is prioritized, as mentioned. IFC 5, for example, will coexist with other versions, and OpenBIM principles ensures that flexibility, which is what is really nice about working for buildingSMART. This is the flexibility to do that, and ultimately it's responding to industry demands. And I think interoperability is a collective goal that we should have and work together towards, and I think the theme of this conference really is very nice to have that. And I've got a flash up of 7 seconds left, so I'm sorry, but I'll just leave you with something that I'm also really proud of, the development of working together through our summit program. So having been through many of these summits, I just have to say, isn't it sometimes nice to look back and think of the progress was had when we all got together to meet in person? And interoperability benefited as a result of doing that. And I'm really proud of some of the work that we've done. I'm really proud of the team. And I think actually OpenBIM is better when we do progress together. So with that, I would like to say thank you very much, and look forward to a few days with you.
Thank you, Aidan. This is really inspiring to see where we are today and what we have achieved so far. Now, please welcome next keynote speaker, representing one of our platinum sponsors. It's Nemetschek Group, and a warm welcome to Marc Nezet, Chief Strategy Officer of Nemetschek Group. Welcome, Marc. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Very pleased to be with you in Berlin. So first, a disclaimer: you'll have to stand my French accent for the coming 15 to 20 minutes. So I ask already for forgiveness on that one. I can't do anything with this. I'm born with a certain passport, and it goes alongside with a handicap, which is to speak English with a strong accent. But I'm sure you'll be accommodating with it. On behalf of Nemetschek, very proud to be with you today. Proud as well to confirm our unconditional support to buildingSMART International and the intent to drive standards across our industry. We call that presentation "Shaping Tomorrow Today" because it is the nature of what each of you is doing. We don't build for the coming 3 or 5 years. We build for decades. And our job is to have empathy enough for the way that we want the world to look like in 10, 20, 30 years. The way we want people to live, people to work, people to learn, people to shop, people to entertain, people to be cured, treated. That's the sense of purpose that we all share with you. There is a lot of hype as well talking around AI. We don't see AI on why we are here. We don't see AI on what purpose we want to serve. We see AI as how we can deliver better on the key challenges that we have. Environmental challenges, sustainability being one of them, and the other one being the interoperability. Thanks to AI, we can finally bring much more cross-disciplinary intelligence across our siloed and fragmented world. Nemetschek comes from a world where we don't think that one size fits all. You probably know some of our iconic brands. You can talk about Archicad through Graphisoft. you can talk Allplan, you can talk Vectorworks, you can talk Solibri, RISA, and so on and so forth. Moving to pre-construction, construction design reviews, you go to Bluebeam, you go to Nevaris. More recently, bridging the office and the field, Go Canvas. And you continue as well with our brands in operating the built environment with space optimization through Spacewell and those type of brands. So we are a chameleon. We embrace the color of the community we serve. And we don't believe one size fits all. We believe an architect, by his creative intent, is unique. We believe a structural engineer is unique by the specialty he serves, the material he's expert at, and the purpose or type of vertical he's addressing. We believe a pre-construction population or BIM manager is someone extremely special that deserves a bespoke tool and not a one-size-fits-all tool, and so on and so forth. That's what defines and differentiates Nemetschek. We are geographically relevant to all places of the world. We are especially the friend of the small and mid-sized businesses, the small and mid-sized architect, the small and mid-sized structural engineer, the small and mid-sized construction firm, but also the large one when we talk about construction firm. It means that usually we don't talk about users, we don't talk about customers, we talk about fans. We have a fan zone per brand who are usually people who had been working for 5, 10, 15, 20 years with our tools. And what do they deserve? Yes, they deserve to be welcome in a safe environment to leverage the opportunity of AI. But AI is a how. The what is, if we shape tomorrow, today, we're going to shape buildings that will be climate resilient, that will be climate event resilient, that will be having capabilities on their energy mix, on their energy performance and their operation, that will be embracing the requirement of a world in 2030, 2040, 2050. Yes, all our users, all our fans, community, they deserve an AI that is not intimidating in the safety around data, but they deserve an AI that will be putting bridge and glue between all the siloed tools. They deserve an AI that will help to deliver value above the sum of the parts. And the parts are all the existing tool providers that you have. The parts are all the different specialties that you know and companies that need to work together for a better outcome. We believe as well enormously much in Nemetschek, in AI as being a tool to support generation shift and cross-disciplinary collaboration. Generation shift, can we make a junior, a new starter in a company up to speed, in full productivity, at a better speed, thanks to AI? The second element, I'm an architect bureau of 5 to 10 people, 30 years experience. My past 30 years of projects is my know-how. When I get new colleagues, when I get new people on board, how do I make them capturing the essence of what had been my signature, what had been the bureau way of doing things? AI is really a tool to support that generation shift into let's say, into the employee management. The second, you all know where we commercialization. When you are an expert in structural engineering in concrete, you might not be the same specialist in timber. But guess what? The future is hybrid in structural design. especially to lower the embodied carbon. When you are an HVAC technician or an HVAC engineer, you are not specialized in the physics of the material. You do sizing on your equipment. You do sizing on your thermal model. You don't necessarily think about the energy model that will be later on designed based on your thermal model, and you don't necessarily have the competence to rediscuss the structural part. Thanks to AI, we can finally bring cross-disciplinary bridges. We can bring intelligence through the multi-physics of the different materials or the different systems that you all have to manage in complex building. Now moving back quickly to sustainability. Let's say the why, I don't come back to it. We all know, you know, to your kids or to the young generation, the way we want to live a world that will not be necessarily having the same rain episode that we have, floods that we have, urban heat waves, and all those disturbance that we have on the climate. We need to make a built environment that's going to be matching this new context. And to do so, being in Europe and welcoming many countries of the world, Europe is having a conviction on the necessity that our industry needs to drive the sustainable world. Through, of course, the level of emission embedded into all constituting elements and processes of a building, but also toward the right part of the document, making sure that sustainability is also driving higher return and higher value on the portfolio of buildings as a financial asset class. At Nezet, we worked in the past year and a half on defining 11 levers where we want each of our tools to provide an impact. When I say each of our tools, I mean the role of Solibri, the role of Dirofus, the role of Vectorworks, the role of Archicad, the role of Allplan, the role of Bluebeam, the role as well of GoCanvas on Evaris, supporting those intent. Sustainability is a systemic issue. That's good. Actually, building is a system, a set of different systems, and we need to have that systemic answer to provide a systemic impact, starting from early phase of the project, matching regulation, better data models on the building materials, including the coming environmental product description data model that all of us will have to deal with in Europe in the coming years, and having a proper documentation on the circularity, recyclability, and durability of what we build across decades to come. We won't be collectively able to do that if your tools, if your community is not supported properly by digital help to match those requirements. I will just give you some examples, and here we had Archicad, Solibri involved with that. You also last year the Paris Olympics. Actually, the Olympic Village was natively designed to be repurposed to host the athletes, but to be turned very quickly to more collective housing surfaces. So the whole concept was made as such. How do you think our built environment will be matching cycles between, for example, the office or commercial real estate market and the constant deficit of collective housing? Don't you think that we could have done better if we would have thought from early stage how an office building could be repurposed to a housing? how urban areas, and especially pressure on pricing, housing, and dissatisfaction of citizens could be better handled if we would have been natively thinking the built environment as such. The second element, it's a very good example of repurpose as well for us as a software vendor. We've been doing for decades Vectorworks landmarks, very strong software for landscape design. 20 years ago, you could call it landscape design. Today, you call it urban greening, you call it heat wave mitigation, flood management. So when we get an order like this one, or when our users is getting an order like this one for the municipality of Cardiff, it's all about landscape design, but looking at the topography, at everything to do flood management, heavy rain episode management. We repurpose our tools to support better outcome and sustainable outcome. I won't give you too many details on the hype of AI because you hear a lot about it. We hear it a lot from a conceptual design phase, ideation, so getting help and assistance in going faster to a certain set of options or ideas to help and drive a better convergence or understanding of your customer needs. You save time in those early phases. We believe as well at Nemetschek, through our investment in the George Nemetschek Institute with the University of Munich, which is an institute dedicated to AI applied to the built environment. So we invest in this institute for the common good. The IP is public in order to bring as well AI and deep capabilities of AI in structural design, material aging simulation, cross-disciplinary simulation as well. And going to the right, when we look at our investment today in research on material aging scenarios, it's all as well in order to support all investors in the real estate world, have a better predictability of the reuse and circularity and so on and so forth of their object. You remember what I told you earlier. We don't have users, we don't have customers, we have fans. And that carries a form of responsibility towards those people. When they use our tool, do we own the drawings they make? Can we learn out of the design they made? At Nemetschek, we had a clear answer and we have a conviction. Our answer is no. No. Triple time no. We protect the data of our users and our fans. Second element, we believe it is their IP properties. When you have, as a user, an engineering bureau of 10, 20, 30 people, 100 people, their outcome, their knowledge is visible through the way they use the software. And we don't feel any right to tap into this intellectual property of our customers. Last but not least, we believe also that liabilities, the commitment of our users to make architecture that is compliant, to make structural design that is compliant, resilient, to do also the constructability analysis, it is their liability. It is not our right to play with that. We have to empower our users to be in full ownership of their data. Protect the intellectual property and creativity associated to their work. And last but not least, protect as well the long-term wealth of their own businesses. That's a commitment that we take at Nemetschek. And at the same time, bringing, and we released in beta earlier this year our AI assistant, and actually the full production release is planned in the coming weeks, where actually we will be helping people to get automated tasks, finding things in their own model quicker, faster. Second, we'll be checking the compliance faster also to any type of regulation and getting automated access to their model for those type of check. And last but not least as well, finding optionality. It means new ideas, new options compared to what they want to do. Nothing intimidating, just very simple things. I automate access to the right place of the model quicker. I check compliance stuff. And if I want ideas, I want to access ideas. And not from a generic provider, from a domain expert provider. We made an acquisition just a few weeks ago. We had a lot of debate. Do we want BIM to be for a pool of experts, or do we want to bring more intelligence in the smallest common denominator that people have to exchange files, which is a PDF format? We choose to make the acquisition of Firmus 2 weeks ago to serve the latest. We believe that we can bring additional intelligence through geometries, text to geometries, image to geometries, schedules, financial data, numeric data to as well the PDF floor planning. What does it mean by bringing more intelligence? It means that the PDF is taking a little bit more responsibilities on checking the compliance to the original intent and specification of the project. And it means as well the PDF has a little bit more empathy to the chain of causality of any issues, any reserves, anything that is getting noted in this PDF. And that is not science fiction. It's available now, will get embedded in coming months in Bluebeam, and will get in next year into some other. All of that comes to the very clear sense of purpose of Nezet, which is we don't believe one size fits all. We don't believe proprietary platforms are today giving a value above the sum of the part. We believe in a world of full interoperability, of open standard, in order to deliver, to make creativity more creative, productivity more productive for the built environment. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this really interesting, not outlook, I correct myself, the status of the present. So let us welcome our next keynote speaker, Max Thinius. He's Europe's leading futurologist and creator of futures. We must get used to that term. He creates future. He supports individuals, companies, regions, authorities, public sector, and he lives in Berlin and Denmark and operates throughout Europe. Max publishes a lot, of course. These people publish a lot, of course. And he co-founded the FuturNeo Institute for Future Designs. Again, they are designing futures, where today 40 experts work, research, implement topics on the future, on education and society. A warm welcome, Max Thinius.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And just to say happy birthday for 30 years of doing the right stuff. Because as I really thought, first time I mentioned BIM, I think it was about 29 years ago, something like that. And I thought, wow, what a cool idea to digitize all these data you have and you need to really build something. And as of today, I will show you that this idea has become much more important even because, well, since 30 years, times were changing a little bit, but you're always on the track, you're already there. Probably BIM has been a bit too early. A bit too early so that a lot of people didn't understand the clue in the first instance, but I think we will see a lot more of it in the coming future. So it's about being better together and love the future we are building, because you're not building just houses, companies, constructions, you're building future. And just to get you to this right mindset, I want to show you how it looks like at home in Vludstrup, where I'm in Denmark. And in Vludstrup, we have this lovely tree. And underneath this lovely tree, you'll see probably 12 stones. And this is a very early idea of BIM. Because in the early times of agriculture, we sat underneath these trees and bespoke everything we had to do in the city, which tractors we could use, where we want to build something new, where the construction materials coming from, which one we could take we already have. And then we had a second iteration of BIM, and this is in these houses, because just having an eye on the woods, which are built in there, on every piece of wood, there is a little sign engraved with a number, with length, which was wood it is. So you have, because these buildings were made to build up and to be teared down very easily. And so you had all the construction material on one big pile, and you have to choose which one is the one I want to use for the next time. So you could be totally sustainable, and we saved in these days where it was very difficult to build up houses, about 80% of building material, of time, of everything you need to build such things. So BIM is kind of like a very inclusive idea of society, because they always wanted to be better, wanted to save something, wanted to enrich people's lives. And as of today, we're always talking about a big change in the era. So we are coming from the era of industrialization, and we're probably going into the era of digitality, or the information age, or the age of AI. I want to give you another idea, because all this, what we are talking about, like information, AI, or whatever these eras are, it's all about something, technology, something like, well, that. But we are changing, and this is what science is talking more and more about internationally, from the era of integration to the era of inclusion. And this is a very big difference, because during the industrial times, we had big structures where we had to integrate. There was some technology given, there were some structures given, and we had to do what these structures allowed us to do. And now we, as we just heard about AI, we have a new tool, and this is kind of like the first of about 20 to 30,000 different technologies coming up. So don't stick to AI, it's just the first one you heard about. But all these technologies are not that we have to do what they give us a frame for. We decide what to do with these technologies. Because like when you have a car, I can drive with a car. And I'm a driver or I'm a co-driver. And if I would have a pistol in my hand, I would just be a pistol man and probably not the futurologist on stage. So technology changes the way I am. It changes us as a people. And when we go into a hospital, we are either doctors or we are ill. As hospitals are technology as well. But now, we are really creating a new idea of this technology. And this technology is that we don't just have a house where we go in and this house gives us this frame for what we do there, but we have tools where we can give this house each day a new kind of frame of what we want to do in this house. Today it might be a school, or even during one day it might be a school in the morning, a bureau in the afternoon, and probably some sleep hotel in the night. whatever. And we need to do that. We need to have a very consistent system of communication, not just among people and not just among services, but among buildings as well. And something else is changing. Coming from the idea of industrialization, we were all bound in probabilities. So what could happen? We believed in trends. Trends were developed for industrialization. Nobody ever had a trend before. And this was kind of like logic, because the industrial system is very tough. It's very structured. And you have to know that if a change is coming, how do you want to react on this change? But the new era of inclusion, or digitality, both is allowed to say, is different. We are not looking for probabilities anymore, so what could happen, but for possibilities. What do we want to do? And this is an entirely different mindset. Because it's not that we are waiting for some solutions which may show up and we have to confirm it somehow or have to step on it. But we always have to look on what we really can do and want to do to build up new cities. You may have heard, and as there are people from Japan around here, you may know this one. This is on the old construction plant of Toyota. And the idea is brought together with some people from Denmark. It's Bjarke Ingels Group, and we are working together with them. And the idea is to build a very new kind of city, which is structured in 25, 2,500, and 25,000. Why that? Let's start with 25,000. If you have 25,000 people, you have the optimal size for building a neighborhood. Because there's enough people, you can open shops, but there's not too many people, so you don't meet again. There's a lot of people, so you can do business together, you can meet new people, you can do new businesses, and you can interconnect. 2,500 in Copenhagen. We have a new law which makes people relevant for an area for 2,500 people in the city, and they're caring for it. In Germany, we have this lovely word, Hausmeister. Probably it's in English, it's kind of like service people or whatever it is. And these service people do care for about 2,500 people in this city. So if you are living there, they take care for that, they are cleaning the streets, they're doing all this stuff. And you can probably let all your packages be delivered to them and pick them up. There's some new neighborhood coming up and people are more and more connected. They start to really grow into each other. And this leads us to a very new project which is coming up in Copenhagen in the next years, which is, this is one of the main roads in Copenhagen. And I want to explain you why BIM is going very much further than you ever have thought of it could be today. So this is the street in Copenhagen. And when I'm in Copenhagen, I'm, by the way, just have this White House with a little tower in mind. I'm living just the street next to it. In the end is Tivoli, and just the street next, fourth house on the first floor, just upstairs. So if you're in Copenhagen, please just give me a ring and show up for a coffee. However, this is a street with 8 roads built for industrialization. And you have some shops down there, but it's not kind of like very nice. So keep this tower in mind and have a look back in 1930. This is the same street, how it looked in 1930. And in Copenhagen, you have now the right to be able to eat sustainable food which is produced locally. So people are trying to bring back this not just as a park, but as agriculture. So you have a mixture of a park and agriculture, and we have AI to really see what people will eat on which day, so that we can harvest exact the products you will eat on this day. And what does happen if you just eat these products on this day? You have about 90% more nutrition, like in today's row, where we have about 2 till 3 weeks until it's in the supermarket. And when you eat these products, people will be healthier. And that is what BIM can do. So we cannot just build the houses, but we can build health, because we have the data that people, if they eat these products, they will be healthier. And it's not all which is happening, because underneath the street there will be some indoor farming, and down at the floor there will be some data center. Because with the heat of the data center we can have the indoor farming and the floor always on temperature, so that you can have a whole year of growing and harvesting fresh fruit, which is sold by Superbruxen, which is a regional supermarket. And you really have the assurance that you have food which is harvested not more than 24 hours before you buy it. So you can eat it very fresh. And this is the idea of what comes together. Because it's like not just the smart city or the smart building you're talking about. There are smart products, smart mobility, smart jobs, smart networks, smart solutions, efficiency, climate, whatever. Your personal life will be connected to every building, to every street you live in, so that you in future have an idea of what you want to do. Do we have an idea of how much more data we will have in 2030 compared to today? How much would you guess is this? About 5 times, 10 times, 50 times as much as data as today? It's about 1,000 times of data we have today. And you will see that next year. You have probably heard of the company of John Ive and Sam Altman, the I.O. They're bringing up a tool which is on your desk, and you're collecting data through all your day, where you are, in which conditions you are, what you do, what you talk, all your emails, and overnight your personal AI bot on your desk, AI bot on your desk will solve your problems and make you a solution for the next day. So what could you do? Which emails should you send? Where should you go? What is the best way to do your day? So we will have changes in work again, because people will be told to go to work in the morning in this company and in the evening in another company probably. And this is the idea which happens now. And cities will become more mobile as well. Because what we already see is, it's a bit too green, because I told AI, make it a little bit greener. Little bit is probably a different word for AI. But what we have is this kind of cars which are coming up for sure, because they are, with AI driven, they have all the information about which products will be needed in this part of the city on which day. So they can be transferred there in these little cars, and you can go there and pick them up or buy them, have some conversation. Because what is very important for people as well is that we have a conversation in cities. If we don't have, cities are dead, and people don't feel good. Another thing is, which we can see when you're building and have the data of measuring it, is when we do universities in Copenhagen and Barcelona, and we make them greener. We have a better architecture, we have better material built in there, so we have a directly rise of what the people learn. They have better exams, they have better interconnections, they have better businesses and better investments in the city. And this is what BIMs can provide. They can provide an infrastructure for the whole city to leverage the life quality of all the people living there. And this is much more than just doing some construction stuff. This is really going into the next era of creating life. And it's not just the life of where we are living, which is on point 2. of our daily life which are changing dramatically, like health, living, work, mobility, education, leisure, generations in family, consumption and production, nutrition, finance, economy, politics also. Every of this stuff is doing new. And we are not behind. Because when we always hear that we haven't invented Google, we haven't invented OpenAI or whatever, BIM is not a general purpose technology, what GPT usually stands for. I know Sam Altman did it in a general pre-trained transformer, but he used a general purpose technology. It's something like energy itself, it's something like computer itself. So he wanted to be big. But BIM is not on GPT level, it's on community purpose level. This comes a little later. But this community purpose level has a very deeper integration into society and very much longer change of doing good business and including people all over the place. And this is very important because if you don't include the people, BIM will just be half of its worth, or probably just even 10%, because if you don't have direct effect on people's life. But if you have, you can go to a commune, you can go to a city, and you can tell them, I can change the life of your people. So it's not just about automation, which is coming up with AI and all these new technologies. It's very much innovation and it's narration, because we need new narratives. Because the old narratives always tell us to bring stuff back into industrial structures, but the new structures won't be like industrial. They will be very new, and if we try to have all this potential and bring it down to industrial structures, we will just get out like something like the rest of it. But if you have all this openness in your mind and see BIM as something much bigger, you will have the deal. So, just to give you a short summary, in agriculture, we had our own fireplaces. We had to cut down trees, so we did completely knew what we do, and we were completely autark. During industrialization, the fireplaces changed, and we tend to give somebody money to receive a service to have our homes heated. So the idea changes completely from being autark to having to pay someone and being into a network. The future probably will be that we have our own solar roofs, our own energy. It's the same with food. In agriculture, we knew what we ate because we looked out of the window. In industrialization, we just gave somebody money. BIM was created in the times where we gave just somebody money and received something. So please think again, because the structure is nearly the same like in agriculture in future for our all daily lives, but a little different because we live in a perfect network. And if you are a supporter of this network, you are on the winning side, because there we were completely alone. So industrialization was really a plus for everyone in society, because he couldn't handle his problems. Now he has a big service provider and he's responsible as long as we pay. But in future, we will have a different situation where we have lots of smaller economies, lots of smaller business models, and we are interconnected. And please think not just about technology, because that is why we in our business don't say digitalization, we say digitality, because it's technology plus reality. As long as you're just working for your business, you're in the digitalization. You're optimizing, you're doing any kind of automation process. But as soon as you interconnect with people's lives, like with these I/O stuff from Altman and Ive, which is probably on your desk, then you are in people's lives, then you are down there, and then you have very much more possibilities to change infrastructures in countries throughout the whole world and interconnect people. So don't think anymore about the word construction industry. Please change this directly in your mind and pronounce it construction digitality. Because in industry, that's gone. You have done it. And now it's construction digitality. This is a new way of thinking BIM onto the next level, to not just serve your business, but to serve the people all over the world. And if you don't do it, Sam Altman will do it. But you're far ahead. You have 30 years more experience than him. So happy birthday. Thank you.
Thank you, Max, for your keynote. So now, just a question, right? Because I mean, like changing this now to construction digitality, overwhelming information, and all of these kind of things. I mean, like you're very positive looking into the future, but well, like how can we all also look into the future positively? Because I mean, like there is maybe also a lot of frustration around. Well, for 30 years, we're now actually working on construction industries, digitization. But I mean, like when are we finally going to the goal?
That's why I thought you probably were a bit too early. Because when you started, you had a very great idea, but the rest of you were just struggling around with, I don't know what to do. Now, your idea is just on the right place. And I can be positive because there are some statistics which are very easy. 87% of what is happening in the next moment is by statistics is positive. It's just 13% which is negative. So the idea of there could be a bad future isn't real. The only thing is that we have to be careful, and this is what BIM can solve, by the way, because if you interconnect properly with blockchain or whatever, because today we have mainly 3 algorithms in the world, which is Meta, which is Google, and which is OpenAI. There is nothing more where we rely on. And if you have an idea of a business model for Facebook, for example, I don't know who of you is in Facebook, but the idea of Facebook, of the algorithm of Facebook, is to keep you as long as possible in this feed. And when they show you bad news, you stay 3 times as long as if they show you good news. What would this algorithm like Facebook do? So there's about 1% of hate speech on Facebook. There is 7% of bad news on Facebook. You see 30% of hate speech and 50% of bad news because it's better for their business model. So there needs to be a new idea. And BIM, for example, can, when interconnected with not just construction, but you have a very bright society already, and you can bring in people, they will have new possibilities to interact with their life, to not just have to use algorithms like Facebook, but they can build up something new which happens in real life and their own network. And this is something where you can think bigger and better.
So as a specific tip, as a recommendation for everybody here, what would you recommend? Turning off the phone or, staying positive? How can we have an impact, a positive impact, maybe on an everyday practice in the domain that we're working?
Forget these shitty trends.
Okay.
Forget all of these trends, because if you follow a trend, you usually cannot do better than 50%, because it's not your core possibilities you're talking about. It's just probabilities you have to fulfill. And what people like Altman and OpenAI do, they're taking their possibilities. They're not working on probabilities of what could people use or whatever. They're just taking the possibilities. And we are now, by technology, kind of like forced to think in possibilities, because waiting for probabilities is just waiting for others to take over the business. That's the thing. But we have huge possibilities if we are thinking in possibilities to really change the market, and we always have to have people in mind. It's not about brick and mortar, it's about people. And as soon as you can rise their life quality, you will be in business all over the world.
Perfectly leading over to my last question, just to wrap it up. But I mean, like now you have seen actually the international level, but we had you also as a keynote speaker actually on the regional level down there with one of our working groups actually in Bavaria. Now you have seen basically all the different levels here at Building Smart. But now, well, we have been talking about inclusion. We have been talking about actually that we should stay positive and so on. It's about people. So I mean, like, what's your prediction in the future for Building Smart?
It depends on you. And I don't believe on what could happen. I believe on what people will do. And like Jack Ma from Alibaba said, I just don't need to be the best, but I need to have the best people around me. And I think there's a lot of best people around here. And when you are now keep on waiting for who's doing the next AI business or who's doing the next business in whatever will be there out there, I can't help you, really. But if you have the idea of, wow, it's us, we can change the world. We are much more and much better than whatever Sam Altman has built already. We can do the next step. And that is what I would say would be my prediction of the future, that here are some people who have to shuffle a little because 30 years is great, but it's kind of like a burden because you always have in mind what didn't work. But now you have all the opportunities which can work. So just do it.
And a lot of lessons learned. So thank you, Max.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you all for making my life better.
So, as you heard, actually, it's about actually staying positive and taking the next steps and making things happen. We're going to do that in the next 3 days, but the next immediate step we're going to take is, first of all, a coffee break. So, please help yourself just over there in the next room, and we meet and gather again here at 11 sharp. See you.